Hi, I'm Alison. If you haven't met me before, I am the owner and director of ICE, the Institute of Culinary Excellence. Right, so now one of my favourite cuts, Paysanne, is my favourite because it's peasant style, and it means, I guess, you can get to use up the veg trimmings and the bits and pieces in the fridge that are good quality, of course, but you can cut it up into a variety of shapes. Now, classically, they should all be about 1 centimetre big, and often the best way to describe a Paysanne is what you'd see in a minestrone soup. So think of a soup spoon and what fits on the soup spoon. Don't be cutting great big lumps like this. Think of it as a soup spoon size, and it's a variety of shapes, triangles, squares, rounds, even a chiffonade of cabbage can be in a Paysanne, and also a pea, a round pea. So I tend to use the shapes that I've been given, kind of thing. So the arc of the celery I will use, and I will also use some of those trimmings that I said that could be used for soups and stews. It was a peasant style that people in villages around France would just cut up random vegetables and pop them into braises, beautiful chicken chasseurs and coq au vin and some beautiful braised rabbit and hare dishes, just amazing. And it was just chopped up into a variety of sizes and shapes, pretty much. The size has to be the same. Everything I'm doing today, everything has a similar size. It's the shape that changes. All right, so Paysanne. Let's use a carrot. All right, I use a regular carrot because the regular carrot, if I top and tail, has its own shape, right? It has a round, so I'm going to use that. So what I'll do is cut away the big base. That can be used for jardiniere and julienne and brunoise like before. This one, and you know what? If you're unsafe or unsure, I'm happier to have a slightly off circle than a lost finger. So take off this little bit as a squaring of base. Now, lift your fingers up slightly because you need to have some kind of grasp on this. We're going to cut these as 1 centimetre rounds. Now be careful. If you're not careful, you cut over the round. So make sure that you stop every so often and push these away. And I'll show you what I mean by that. You could be going like that, and that's not cool. All right, so get rid of all those mistake pieces on purpose and carry on cutting the rounds like so. All right, exactly. All right, so you've got this beautiful round shape. Now, what other shapes does nature give us? We have the arc of the celery. So we're going to use the top of the celery. The bottom we can use for our stocks and our soups and all sorts of things. We're going to use this, all right? Now, which way do I do this? You know what? Do it that way, safer. So cut that down a little bit so it can be even safer. Roll him over and then cut again with that elevated finger 1 centimetre pieces. Look, don't go too thin because this is all cooking exactly what I said not to do. It's all cooking in a soup or a stew, and it needs to all cook at the same time. But immediately you have two shapes. You have rounds and you have arcs, and I love that. Looks pretty. All right, now we've got all that leek from before. Remember the centre of the leek that we saved? We can use that, and we can just use a square cut of that lovely sweet centre of the leek. All right, so we can just use that shape again to make like an oblong or a rectangle, whatever you want to say. But remember, it needs to be the same size. So you've got leek there, all right? We don't want to use capsicum in here. It's too strong. It's not part of the family for Paysanne. We do want to use like a shred if we want to, or a round pea. We can also use a little bit of sweet potato if we wish. Remember these lovely pieces that we took off the side? Let's cut that down a little bit, and let's cut that into two. And you see here, we can cut that into a flat piece. It's a very random shape. I can't even describe that shape, but anyway, it's there. And it's different again, like it's like got an angle about it, and you know, it's all the same size though. They're 1 centimetre. Let's use that. Beautiful. But whatever you put in there, all has to cook at the same time. And the only reason capsicum's not in there is because that was quite an expensive ingredient. This was all very inexpensive for country towns that were just making up beautiful soups and stews.